Christmas Eve, 1 p.m, Chelsea take the trip up to Molineux to face Wolverhampton Wanderers. And ironically, we're finally now starting to hit a little bit of form. The good feeling is there for all to see around Stamford Bridge at the moment, especially coming in off the back of a heroic quarter-final win against Newcastle. Here to discuss the game against Wolves with me is my good friend and channel fan favourite, Josh Aveste. Looking very bronzed. He's just been sailing down the Nile. Had a little holiday away. All right for some. Josh, how's it going, mate?
Very good. It's great to be back. Great to see you. And it's great to be talking about some football again, mate. I was on the Nile. I couldn't see anything, couldn't do anything, couldn't enjoy the football matches. I actually did support Al Ahly. Very good Egyptian team. They're through to the semi-final of the Club World Cup.
It's funny, isn't it? Because supporting Chelsea and supporting Mudryk especially, you've been in a denial this season, haven't you?
Oh! Do you see what he's done there? And do you know what, everyone? I'm really, really, really glad that he's mentioned this because, look, we were talking about this, we were having our usual sort of WhatsApp chat, as we do when we're watching the games. And what I really wanted from Joey, especially on this episode, is his official apology to Mykhailo Mudryk. Because, over and over again, he's been saying, I'm not quite sure if he's got it. I'm not quite sure if he's good enough. I think he might be your pace merchant. I don't know if he's got the technique. I tell you what, the technique on that finish was pretty good, Joey, wasn't it?
Technique was good on that finish. I was very happy, and I've always backed him. I've always backed him. No, look, he was good, man. He came on and changed the game. And talk about eating my words, because what did I text you? I said to you, didn't I? I said, here comes Mudryk to change the game like he normally does, and then came on and completely proved me wrong, change the game. So,
and that wasn't sarcastic, was it? That wasn't banter. That was completely serious. You went, Mykhailo Mudryk will come on, he will impact the game immediately.
I don't do banter. It's for school kids.
You do need to apologise.
You know what the ironic thing is, though? You know what?
Really do.
I apologise. Mykhailo, I know you're a big watcher of the channel. I apologise for everything I've said. I haven't even said anything that bad. I've just said I don't know he's a first-team starter. And ironically, we're going to give our starting lineups in this video. And I can give you a little spoiler here. I still don't know for me whether he's a first-team starter, and that's the mad thing about it. But we get into that in this video. We're obviously going to discuss Wolves as the opposition. We're going to speak about where Chelsea are at this moment in time, what we want to see from them in this game, and we're both going to give our starting lineups for this game. So let's get into it. Josh, what are we saying? Feels good to be a Chelsea fan at the minute, doesn't it?
Feels great. And look, we need to take that momentum from that unbelievable result. I have to say, even me watching the penalties, I don't know how you felt, mate, but even watching those penalties before we were seeing the players step up, I was thinking, young team, not really sure if they've got it and got the sort of confidence and the sort of cojones to sort of do it, pull out the win. There were 4 unreal penalties. And then let's not even talk about Petrovic. What a save that was as well from him. So, we've got to take all that confidence, all that momentum, and actually sort of have a bit of a run now.
Mate, when you think about Moscow 2008, look at our penalty takers on that day, and they were as experienced and battle hardened as they get. So when the likes of JT and that are missing penalties, and that day I think we had JT, Lamps, Ashley Cole, maybe one other take penalties, right? When you know that we didn't go through in that penalty shootout, and then you think about the game against Newcastle on Tuesday night, it didn't fill me with massive confidence when I know that effectively we've got kids stepping up to take these penalties. So I just can't underplay how proud of this team I am.
I am too. I'm loving it. I have to say, it's been really hard this season to know where we are, where we stand, if we are going to be this sort of 10th dwelling team, or whether we are going to be able to sort of push on and actually make something of this season. And at 90 minutes of that Newcastle game, I was thinking, God, this season's going to be really hard. We're going to be out of another cup competition. We're going to be languishing in 10th place. And then everything becomes incredibly negative. And so the reason why we celebrate it, and, that noise that we heard after that goal went in about the boys banging the top of the Matthew Harding stand, about everyone around the ground going absolutely mad, it was relief more than anything, because it's we've actually still got something to fight for here. We've still got, this Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, Milk Cup, whatever it's freaking called these days. We've still got that to play for. I
what
still
is
think
it
we
called,
can win
guys? What do you call it? Because we're in agreement, aren't we? We call it the Carling Cup.
I call it the Carling Cup. It will always be the Carling Cup for me. Maybe we just call it the League Cup and just sack off the sponsors, but move on from there.
Yeah.
I know people that call it the Milk Cup. That shows their age.
I'm a bit too young for that.
Look at him. He moisturises.
Do you know what, right? Like, quite a few people were saying to me, like, oh, Chelsea got lucky. Mate, luck can only take you so far because we've got through every round in that cup. We faced Brighton, Newcastle, decent teams. And when you look at the game the other night, right, you say Chelsea got lucky because, yeah, okay, Mykhailo Mudryk was gifted a goal. You've got to be alert. You still got to finish it. You've got to be in the right area. And everyone's got short memories because how did Callum Wilson score? We gifted him a goal.
Yeah, that
so
was
then
a
when you
joke.
look at the stats, we had 5 shots on target. They had 2 shots off target. We had a whole load of shots off target. Wait, did I say off target? I meant on target. We had 5 on target. They had 2 on target. One of them they converted. One of them Petrovic pulls off a worldie. They had no shots off target. We had another 5 off target or something like that. Possession, we had about 78% of the ball. And then when you look at the heat map of where the ball is, we played literally more or less all the match with the ball in their half. So, okay, yeah, we could have been more potent in front of goal. We could have been more clinical. And actually, 5 shots on target and 5 off. Those 10 shots don't reflect what I think we should have created. We should have been more creative. But you can only do what you can do. And effectively, if you take away both goals, you say, right, we gifted them their goal. They gifted us our goal. The right team deserved to win if you go on all the other statistics. So I don't think we were lucky. I think this is a team that are growing. However, let's address the elephant in the room. If we were maybe bookmakers and we were going on the form book, yeah, form-wise, we know from Chelsea what usually happens is we go and put in, don't want to say heroic, but we go and put in a big performance. We go and shock a few people and we have a real high. And ultimately, we normally end up losing the next match.
Yeah.
It happened when we lost to Brentford, coming in off the back of a few good results. It happened after we had a good draw against Liverpool in the opening day of the season. So it has been happening so far this season. And it's a banana skin that we really, really need to avoid. And in Wolverhampton Wanderers, we've actually got a team that, I said this before in my last video, that the 13th place position that Wolves sit in is not reflective of how they've been this season. I think only Everton, who have had a points deduction, can have a less reflective place in the league of how they've actually been this season because they've had bad VAR decisions go against them this season. When you look about the big boys that have gone to Molineux, you know, Man City went there and got beat, didn't they? Newcastle went there and only got a draw. Villa dropped points there. One of the other teams dropped points there, I can't remember now, but they've been decent at home. So it's by no means an easy match heading up to Molineux. 1 o'clock kickoff on Christmas Eve, which, let's be honest, is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I was supposed to be going to that match. So it's going to be a tough test, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And look, I really like their manager. I think he's top quality. You saw how good he was when he was explaining the drills and the tactical setup that he did on Monday Night Football. I thought he covered himself in a lot of glory there. I thought he came across very, very well. And I think he's one of those managers that sort of goes under the radar, doesn't he? Because he's an English manager. You don't really know how good he really is. And a lot of people question him. But actually, he's done it on the pitch. I thought the sort of Bournemouth fiasco was a joke. Like, getting rid of him was just an absolute joke. And obviously, they've got a decent manager now and they're looking okay. But
if he was called Garridio O'Neill, do you think he'd be in higher demand?
I think he would still be there at Bournemouth, put it that way. And obviously they've got, you know, American owners, they want to put their stamp on it. I understand it, but like very, very harsh. And I think that's almost
American owners.
Yeah, exactly. What do they know? I think he's really taken that personally. And I think he's using that as a bit of a motivation this season. So that's maybe why he's getting so much out of this team. Because I think, again, I was looking at their team sheet on paper. It's not special on paper. It really isn't. And especially when you compare it to other teams around them.
You know who's actually like been half decent for them this season? Is that Cunha?
Yeah.
And I had a video, right? This is a long thing about YouTube, like, you put stuff out, especially shorts, you put them out and then like 6 months later they just go viral. And it's like, I said that months ago. So I put a video out at the start of the season and it was before Gary O'Neill had been appointed. It was when Lopetegui was looking like he might leave, but he hadn't been sacked or he hadn't left just yet. And I said, you know what? 2 teams I worry for this season, relegation dark horses, are Palace and Wolves. Palace could well go, and we got them afterwards. But Palace and Wolves were the 2, and obviously I was addressing sort of the uncertainty around Wolves, the fact that they were a serious breach of financial fair play as well. People speak about Everton and Chelsea, but actually Wolves, you know, they weren't doing well with financial fair play. They weren't able to make any signings. Cunha, the guy they had an obligation to buy because he had made X amount of appearances for them, had obviously not looked good in his first sort of half a season in Premier League football, and then they were going to have to go and splash like 40 odd million on him. But they proved me wrong, and they've been a real solid mid-table side, and that's not considering where I thought they were going to go this season. that's not a dig at them. They have been pretty solid, mid-table. Cunha's done well. And even the matches they've lost, like, you look at the game against Man United on the opening day of the season. Now, many teams will play well against Man United this season, albeit we didn't. But Wolves deserve to win that game. So...
Yeah, they did. I really like that. I think they've got a few players like... do you know what? We heard some rumours the other day about Kilman, their centre-back, being a potential option for us. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans sort of laughed that off. But he's been a good player for them. I really like Lamina in the midfield for them as well. Like they've got some decent players, absolutely. But again, they're one of those teams, and I feel like we're jinxing ourselves because we say this quite often, don't we? But they're one of those teams that we should be destroying. We should really,
but then we do say that about 14 teams in the table.
Yeah, but we should. Like they as a squad are not that special, and this is famous last words, but we should be beating them. And that's not saying that I think we're going to, but we should. If you look at the squads on paper, they're not as special as some of the other teams that we've turned over.
When I speak about our form at the minute, like, if you were to take a glance at this season, then make a prediction on how we've been form-wise, this is the match we lose, or this is definitely the match we drop points in at least. And for that reason, never did I think that I would be saying that an away trip at Wolves would be season-defining and would be the match that makes me start to believe in this Chelsea side. But actually, for that reason that I just said there, this is the game. It would make it, 3 wins on the trot. And this is the game where I'd be like, right, 3 wins. I mean, we drew the Newcastle match, didn't we? But
let's not get into the specifics.
No, moral victory. It would make it 3 wins on the trot, and it's the game that I'd be like, right, okay, like you've actually shown a bit of character, because regardless of skill, ability, everything like that, what you need to beat Wolves is character, isn't it? Yeah. You do need to be able to roll your sleeves up, dig deep, and go, right, we're not now letting this slip. We're building a little bit of momentum, and we're going to fight tooth and nail to continue it. So I do genuinely think that this is a match that I'm going into optimistic. As I say, the form makes me a little bit less optimistic, but I am going to be optimistic. Let's talk about a team sheet. And what we're going to do, I'm going to give my team sheet after you give yours. So you're going to give your one first. I'll give my one second. Yeah. We'll see what we agree on, what we disagree on.
I love it. Let's get straight into it with the goalkeepers. We've gone backwards and forwards over and over again about this position, about whether Sanchez is good enough. Why haven't we seen Petrovic? And I tell you what, we've certainly seen Petrovic now. Like, let's be honest, he didn't really have anything to do against Newcastle. But when it mattered and he needed to make that save in the penalty shootout, looked really, really good.
He did make a good save during the match as well.
Yeah, I think overall he didn't have that much to do though. And
far,
the same with Sheffield United as well. Like, he didn't really have a lot to trouble him.
Do you not think so far since Sanchez has gone out and Petrovic has come in, I would say there's been one time, and it was at the match I was at the other night against Newcastle, there's been one time when, and he didn't even give the ball away, by the way, he was under a little bit of pressure. There's been one time when I've been a little bit nervous of him with his feet when the ball's gone back to him, right? Yeah. With Sanchez, and I'm not just gonna reverse everything I've said, because I actually think Sanchez is a decent keeper. I think he's a good shot stopper. I'm not sure whether he's Chelsea level, but with Sanchez, pretty much every time the ball goes back to him, I'm quite nervous of him with his feet. And Petrovic, which is weird because he's a little bit younger and whatnot, he just fills me with a bit more confidence. So, of course, I don't want to speak too soon and we're going to have to see a little bit more. But for the most part, now, when Sanchez does come back, if the performances stay as they have been for Petrovic so far, he's our number one, isn't he?
I do really think that. And do you remember when at the start of the season we were talking, you and I, about whether we sign a number one or whether we sign a 1.5? Because we wanted them to challenge, we wanted those goalkeepers to fight for that place. And when we signed Sanchez, we thought, okay, that is the guy that's going to be the number one. The Poch was saying a lot of nice stuff about him. But then you look at the performances of Petrovic, and he is really staking a case now to start every single game, even when Sanchez is back. And if it was my decision, based on what I've seen from Petrovic, I would be starting him now. Yeah. And that's not a dig at Sanchez. I just think Petrovic just looked really good. As you say, doesn't worry me when the ball goes back to him and just does the simple things really, really well. And I think he's probably a better penalty saver. I know that's recency bias, but it looks like he probably is than Sanchez. And then he's just a good shot stopper. So all things considered, He's got more potential, more exciting, better all round, more confidence filling. So you go with him. So I really like the look of him, and I'm really excited for him to get a run of games.
So you've knocked the 0.5 off. He's a 1 for you now.
I think he is now. Yeah, I think I'd put him straight in. I think Poch is changing his mind. Poch has said that Sanchez was his number 1, but I think more and more Petrovic plays and plays well. I think he's going to be staking a claim.
What do I always say? I always say sometimes in football you stumble upon a recipe for success. Harry Kane was stumbled upon. Do you know what I mean? Like it was Tim Sherwood, when it gave him his debut, brought him off the bench. He was stumbled upon. And there's probably so many more examples of times when players have been stumbled upon. Like they're not necessarily even the player in that position that was bought in that window. I know Petrovic was, but you know what I mean? Like Sanchez has bought in to be the man. Sometimes you stumble upon a recipe for success, and I always thought that could potentially happen with Petrovic. I'm liking Petrovic, man. He looks good. A lot of people in the comments have been shouting him out for a while, long before he was getting a start, saying he's the man. So what about your right back? Because obviously it's a position for us at the minute which is a bit close for comfort. You know, it's a bit of a soft spot, touchy subject because of Reece James and whatnot. Who would you go with there?
I rate Malo Gusto so highly. And I think when we were talking about Reece James' injury record at the sort of the tail end of last season, we were really worried about what was going to happen for the future of our right back situation. And you look at players like Livramento and how well he's doing in Newcastle. I think he's been immense. And so you sort of go, are we missing out on some of those players that we've had? You know, we've had very good backup right backs in the past for Chelsea, and we've let them go. You know, Lamptey, again, I thought he was a very good player. You know, Livramento going, and we've had so many decent players there that were blocked because of the quality of Reece James. And now what you're seeing now is, and I don't want to say this too early, but I do worry about the future of Reece James as a footballer. Because if he's getting this many hamstring problems this early in his career, you saw what it did with a player like Torres or Michael Owen. You know, different types of players, they relied more on their acceleration. But when you look at what that could mean for Reece James, it's starting to look a bit Ledley. It's starting to look a bit like that, you know, a bit brittle. And so now I'm looking at Malo Gusto and going, do you know what? Like he could be the right back for like the foreseeable. He could be the right back for the rest of the season, at least.
He's got the ability to play on both sides as well, because he came on at left back against Newcastle, and I thought he looked mustard.
He did.
I thought he looked really good.
I think for me, the reason why I didn't like it with Cucurella on the right hand side either. What I really like with Gusto is he has that ability to whip in the crosses. We saw it for the Madrid goal. It was like, obviously there wasn't a player in the box to get into the header from the original cross, but it still was a very good ball. And also he has that sort of pace and that ability to sort of beat a man. What I think Poch is going to end up doing for the rest of the season is playing a centre back on one of the wing back areas, because quite frankly we're going to have injuries all over the place. He's going to have to play that. So I want to see an out and out natural sided, you know, right or left footer on one of those.
You know
wings.
what is good though, considering we're a club that always has injury crises and whatnot, and in modern day football it's good to be sort of flexible, and it's good to be able to play a multiple range of positions. Name me a player in our squad, barring goalkeepers, who can't play multiple positions. There's not any, is there? Really? Like, all right, you could go Thiago Silva or Pri, only play along the back line in that one position. But, like, everyone else, Axel Disasi can play 2 positions. Levi Colwell can play 2 positions. Gusto, Cucurella, Matson, every single player in our whole squad, even including the front line, you know? Brower's probably the only one that can't. But across the front line, Jackson can play 2 positions. Everyone can play. They've all got versatility in terms of tactically what we can allow them to do. So, it is good. You're going Malo Gusto right back.
I am. So,
let me have your pairing.
So I'm going to go Thiago Silva. I think obviously, you know, immense player. And then I'm going to go Badiashile next to him. It was a tough one with Badiashile because he did make a mistake. And I think there's a lot of Chelsea fans that have been very bullish, catchphrase, very bullish about his quality. And I think he has...
I'm bullish.
Yeah.
I'm in the bullish category.
I rate that as well. And I think he's a good player. But he has made a couple of small errors.
You know what it is? He's just a bit nonchalant.
Yeah. He's a bit, I love it. Great little word there. He's been looking at his word of the day.
He's nonchalant, but he's not les incompetents.
C'est talent. I think it is. Oh God, that was completely framing.
That's from Home Alone. You know, in Home Alone, when she goes, Kevin.
I do. Yeah. I have to say, Disasi is the one for me that is very hard done by. Because I think he has been very good. I like his physicality. I think he's very strong. And I don't think he has put a foot wrong, really. I can't remember a massive error that Disasi has done.
You know the only thing, like, you know, when he was getting in the positions to be able to break down the wing the other night, he was doing a good job of it, like doing a really good job of it. But it's just like, you're just not Reece.
He's a centre back.
I know.
So harsh.
No. Like, yeah,
he is a centre back.
I'm not like being a knob over it. Like, I'm not saying he should be able to do that. I know that he'll never be able to do that. That's not his game or whatever. But it is like, it's just a sour pill to swallow, isn't it?
I get it. I get what you're saying. I like him there. I think, again, he's harshly done by. But then I think carrying on with centre backs, and what I want to say more than anything is, I really don't want this centre back at wing back like thing to be a thing anymore. I don't want Pochettino to play 4 centre backs. It doesn't work. We're so lackadaisical, so lazy in attack when we play that system. And so
Chili's going to be big for us when he comes back.
Yeah, huge. And this is what I mean. I think Pochettino, he did this in pre-season. He went asymmetric, and he went, a very strong left winger, and then he would play, a centre back at right wing. Do you know what I mean? A left back, in that way. So I think with this one, the one that I'm going to go for is Colwill. I think he's very solid there. He did make a very bad pass, very bad error for that Newcastle goal. Horrendous pass. But overall, he's very, very good. And what I like about that is he'll tuck in, make the back free. Gusto will bomb on, and we'll look a bit more solid.
3 in the midfield.
So, this is a tough one, isn't it? Because Enzo seems like he had a bit of a stomach bug. I don't think he'll be risked for this.
Upset tummy.
Upset by the performance, potentially.
Yeah.
Came off for 30 minutes, didn't look himself, hasn't looked himself really for a few games, has he? And so with that in mind, I'm going to go for a Caicedo-Gallagher pairing as a double pivot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it simple. What is that?
We ain't really got any like real options at the moment for the midfield. And we're very weak in the midfield at the minute with the Lavia injury, and God knows when he's coming back. Like, just like, say coming into the fold.
Yeah.
Ugochukwu a man that we've relied on quite a little bit. I'll tell you what, like, we could really do with a Cesar Casadei right now, because
definitely. Or Santos, mate. Santos not even playing for Forest. Was this under 19 Brazilian wonder kid?
Have we
Barcelona
recalled him now?
want him.
Have we recalled him?
We're going to recall him, but I think he's going to go out on loan again.
Yeah, because do you know the only other thing? Like, is obviously Nuno Espirito Santos. He's gone into Forest now, isn't he? So he might fancy. Like, how often do we see managers go into a club and then all of a sudden people that were cast out and sat on the sidelines, not even joining in training and whatnot, all of a sudden come straight back into the fold?
Yeah,
I know that's what old Jadon Sancho's open for. So let's see.
They're stacked though. Like Forest have got a lot of DMs. Like they signed 2 more DMs than they thought they were going to. That's why they signed Santos on loan. So I just think it'd be better for him to come back. I'd actually like to see him in the squad. I actually don't even see the reason now to loan him out for another 6 months. We might as well just get him back in the team. Like, he could get games.
I'm sure he came on against Liverpool.
Did he? Okay, well there you go. I mean, that's one of 3 appearances this season. It's not good enough. Let's get him back. Let's get him around the squad. Let's see him training. And
Quality over quantity, though.
I want him learning. Yeah, God's sake.
What about in your number 10? Who are you going for there?
Right, you're going to love this one. I'm going to go slap him straight in Nkunku.
Like it.
I think
hold on. Who was it I was talking about? And I went, yeah, I'm going to put him straight in. And you went, what? Off the back of an injury? And I went, slap him straight in, mate. Why not?
Mate, we've been waiting for this guy to be fit for about 2 months.
When did Nkunku say he was going to be ready? He said he was going to be ready for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Not this Newcastle.
Yeah.
The Newcastle that we got beat 4-1. He said, innit, first match back after the international break, I'm going to be ready. So he's felt he's been ready for a while. The only thing is, I was at the match. You did notice, didn't you? Like, he didn't get out of second gear, and I feel like that was intentional. I feel it was clever, if anything. But you know what? Like, I don't know whether I'm just on the old Nkunku hype train. He glides.
Yeah.
Like, he glides around the pitch, doesn't he? Like, he looks class, man.
He does.
Quality.
And do you know what? Like, we've been waiting for so long. I think he is reconditioned enough. I think they're being very cautious because they see these injury crises. We see the rate of re-injuries, and that's really scary, especially when you look at someone like Reece James. Again, injured, same thing. It's worrying. And so I understand why they've been incredibly cautious. But I think with this one, you could bring him off early. Like, let's just see him start. And I think it would.
You never see it though, do you? Like, you never see someone get bought off early. Like, it's always they get the last 30 minutes. And I tell you what, when those Wolves defenders are tired, having Nkunku coming in off the bench could be a massive, massive weapon. But I like it. I'm here for it. You'll hear my team in a minute, whether I'm throwing him straight in at the deep end or not. What about right wing?
So I think we need to go aggressive here. That's why I put number 10 in Kunku. I think what we've done so far this season is sometimes be a bit cautious and play, those three midfielders all together. It's not as attacking as it could be. So I think I'm going to go all out attack here. And I want to get an early goal and not have any worries, any concerns about the rest of the performance. So that's impacting my decisions. The right winger, I think, picks itself at the moment. I don't think you can change this guy. I think he's been absolutely amazing. I'm going to go Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done anything to warrant being dropped. And I think he's proven so much. He's definitely our best player at the moment. You have to say that.
Best signing of the Bowley era so far?
I think you've got to say he's got to be up there, hasn't he? He's got to be.
Best?
Do you think?
Yeah, best, yeah.
You think best?
Well, who would you throw in the hat?
I like Caicedo a lot, but again, that was for big money, wasn't it? But I really like
throw Sterling in the hat. I know you sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, yeah, I'm sure he watches the channel because since you said about him not tracking back, and I agree with you, he didn't track back. Last 2 games or so, he's proper been tracking back, like putting a bit more of a shift in. So
he has to be. And look, we'll get into the transfers in a second. So we're going to talk about transfers very soon. The next video.
Let me just one
Get ready
little comparison. Let me think. Is Cole Palmer a better signing, complete random off the top of my head, than Mudryk?
You're a little cheeky boy. Do you see what he's done there? Do you see that, everyone? I think he is, yeah. At the moment, yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you who is a better signing than Mason Mount from Man United.
Do you know what? I heard people saying that Gallagher could be another Mason Mount. And I think that's so harsh on Gallagher.
Could be another Mason Mount.
As in, he could leave and be another flop somewhere else.
No.
Joke.
No, Gallagher's much better than Mason Mount.
And staying.
Yeah, and staying.
So I like Palmer on that side. So then we're going to go over to the other side. Yeah. And then you're going, okay, well then it's obviously Sterling. No, it's not. It's Mudryk. Straight in with Mudryk. I think he was so good when he came on. I think he could cause them problems. And I just want to see him with his pace get in behind. And I think he could do that with the Wolves system.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because I'm not even saying it for banter. I've got my view on it. You've got yours. I do think that Sterling's a more important player for us. I think that Sterling at this moment in time is a better player for us. But what I would also sort of agree with, and this sort of goes against, I would be someone that would go, no, you pick the best team for the job. But what I do also sort of agree with is in terms of a culmination of your time at the club so far and your performances so far, if Poch doesn't now pick Mudryk to start in this match, what's it really say? I feel like it speaks volumes a little bit. The guy's just come on and scored the equaliser / winner and then converted his penalty really cool. He's been a game changer for us. He's given his most significant impact on a Chelsea side. Yeah, most significant moment. So to then not be chucked into the starting lineup against Wolves would be it would be hard for him to take, wouldn't it?
Yeah, look, great goal, great penalty. He didn't put a foot.
Great hair,
great look.
Yeah.
Model look in general. Let's just say that. Good looking guy. I think he's got he deserves that place, and that's why I've chucked him in. And look, I do get banter about Sterling. But I think overall, those boys all together, that three behind the striker is really dangerous.
Nkunku, Palmer, Mudryk.
Yeah, all rotating. Imagine them all rotating between that sort of behind the striker area. That's really exciting. Put Palmer on the other side, Mudryk on the other side, swapping them around. And Nkunku's that floater. I love that role. It's properly exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So who are you going to have as your number 9?
Found this really hard, mate. Because I think you and I are big Broja fans. And I really rate him. And I just think...
Big Albania fans.
Yeah. I think I had a bit of worry with him. He had a few poor touches. He had a few moments where he didn't look himself. And I do think Jackson with Nkunku behind him is quite exciting, and I like it.
We got to see it.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to pick him, but we do have to see it at some point because in pre-season it looked decent, didn't it?
It did look really decent. So for me, I'm going to go straight in for Jackson. I think he's earned the place. He scored the goals. I do really like Bray. I found it hard, but I'm going to go Jackson.
Nice. Okay. Nice. It's a decent starting lineup. I'm going to run through mine ever so quickly. I am going Petric in goal. I'll go Malo Gusto right back. Now, the question I have, and it's a real decision I have to make here, is do I drop Thiago Silva or not? And when I drop Thiago Silva, I want the word drop to be removed. I want it more as do I rest him or not? The thing is, there's been a significant amount of time in between the games, really, so I don't think it's necessary. And I think that this season, that performance from Thiago Silva was the best so far I've seen. Really, really good. So I will go with Thiago Silva, and I will go with Benoit Badiashile. And that obviously means at left back, at the moment in time, I'm going with Levi Colwill. And I want to give Axel Disasi a shout out because, as you say, he hasn't put a foot wrong. And I do think he is an important player for us. And I'm always very conscious of the fact that the lineup I give probably isn't going to be the one that Poch gives anyway. No. So we just see about that. Midfield, I'm going the pivot of Conor Gallagher and Caicedo. Do you know what it is, mate? Like, even if Enzo's in contention, I would still go with what I'm going to go and not go with Enzo in the 10.
Fair enough.
Because Enzo came off for non-tactical reasons, we now know. But the elephant in the room is we looked better without him.
We did.
And we looked better against Sheffield United without him. Does that mean I think we'll be better going forward without him? No. I think Enzo's class. I think he's quality. But I just think sometimes, like, momentum of how the team are doing should override who was brought in for what money and whatnot. So, that's what I would go with there. Listen, number 10, I am going to go with Cole Palmer in the number 10 because I just think that, I mean, mate, I'd be like a kid at Christmas if we could put Nkunku there and if Poch is willing to do it. But history would suggest to me that they're going to be more delicate with Nkunku straight away because look how long it took him to come back. He even made the bench for the Sheffield United game and didn't come on. So I just think they're going to be a little bit more delicate with them there. And I think it speaks volumes to the fact of how important they actually see Nkunku being here because they're thinking, hold on, let's not fuck this up. Let's not rush this boy because he will be an absolute game changer for us. I would be very happy if we were to see a good half hour, even maybe a half-time substitution of Nkunku. I think it can cause them real problems when their legs get a little bit more tired. So I definitely want to see him on the pitch, but I think just because of how important I perceive him as being, I want to nurse him a little bit. Stick Cole Palmer in a 10, have Raheem Sterling on the right wing, Mudryk on the left wing, and I suppose I'll go Jackson.
Really?
I do suppose I'll go
It's
Jackson.
hard though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The striker one is really difficult.
Do you know what it is? And I don't want to sound disrespectful towards Jackson because I don't mean to be at all. His numbers are really good. Bro has just not done anything of that much significance barring sort of winning the penalty against City. He's not done anything of that much significance for me to be able to really stake a claim to him deserving. Like, look, Jackson has missed a lot of sitters, stuff like that, but his numbers are decent. So when you look at those numbers, you can't really stake a claim for Broha unless he's doing something of significance in the matches. Let's say, for example, like a Højlund for Man United. The numbers don't reflect it, but actually he's pretty decent. And we do know that possibly next season there's a high chance that he comes good. Bro's not showing me that just yet, although I do back him, I do have faith in him, and he's had a bad injury, and before that injury I thought he was electric at times. So let's see how that one goes, but I would stick Jackson there for this match. Let's go in to score predictions. What are we saying?
I'm going to go 2-1 in this game. I think that Wolves will score first and it will be very, very nervous. But then we'll come back and get a last-minute winner. And it'll probably be Mudryk again just to sort of wind you up.
Yeah, give it the old.
Yeah. What do you think, mate?
Ooh, I'd take a 1-0 win, you know. I really would. Like, I'm really like, at the minute, winning games is everything to me. So I'd take a 1-0 win in it. But if I'm going to give a score prediction, do you know what? I think Petrovic is a safe pair of hands, mate. I think we'll stop them conceding, and I think we'll win the game. I'll go 1. I will go 1-0. 1-0. Okay. I'll be happy with a 1-0 win, you know. I just think this is going to be a hard match. Like, I'm under no illusions. Like, we can get gassed up off the good feeling, and it just goes to show how much we want Chelsea to succeed, because I've not stopped smiling since that game. And listen, like, obviously no pressure, boys, but if you do lose, or if you do fail to win, then, you know, you've ruined the weekend, you've ruined Christmas. But it is what it is. You know, most of the blame will be on Mudryk. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking. Guys, we are going to record now a video where we talk about all things transfers outgoings, incomings. We talk about the latest gossip, so make sure your eyes are peeled for that. Also, please do me a massive favour. I have now launched my boxing channel, the Joey Knight boxing channel, where I'm covering all things boxing. Obviously, we've got a big card this weekend brought from Saudi Arabia with all the heavyweights on. So I've just dropped a video on that of myself and Brian, the True Geordie. Head over there, subscribe to that page if you're into boxing, because I'm really ramping it up on that page and dropping a lot of boxing stuff. If not, don't worry, that's fine. Stay over here, but do one thing for me and subscribe to Josh's channel. It is linked in the description. He's banging out content every week regarding Chelsea and our latest performances, so make sure you're over there for that. Thank you once again, Josh, for coming in, mate, and I will see you all in the next one.